In this video, I'm going to be breaking down the marketing messaging funnel your clinic should be using for organic content and content for advertising. Broadly speaking, the frameworks of creating content for these two different styles largely remain the same. But as you know, advertising content needs to finish with a call to action and needs to be more sales driven. If you don't know me, I'm Raj Sana and I help private healthcare clinics grow. The strategy I'm going through in this video has produced results like a £16,900 patient return from a £1,000 meta ad spend in just 4 weeks. So let's get into it. Okay, so this is how clinicians should be posting their organic content. The issue is that most write every single post like the person watching it is ready to book, but that's only 3% of your audience at the bottom. So let's go through stage by stage. Top of the funnel is cold traffic. Think people have never heard of you. They're scrolling past and they're not exactly looking for you, but the job of the content here isn't to sell anything, it's to build trust and get them thinking about a problem they might not have named yet. This is where quizzes can work quite well. So think which treatment is right for you style content, or a question that makes someone go, actually, yeah, that does bother me. You're not pitching here, you're planting a thought. And here are some examples of top of funnel content. As you can see, which treatments are really worth it style content. You have top 5 questions about cosmetic dentistry. So it gets people thinking, even ranking hair loss treatments in a fun, interactive style. As I said, you're not pitching here, you're planting a thought. So when we look at middle of the funnel, we're going into consideration. And this is typically warm traffic. They know the problem exists and they're starting to look into solutions. And now the job of your content changes and you need to speak their language here. So use the actual words patient use when they describe their concern and not clinical or medical terminology. Show them you understand their specific world. A patient story that might mirror their own situation lives here. And as you can see, this is some middle of funnel content. So very similar. Patient testimonial, more documentary style. You're not teaching them anything new here, to be honest. You're just showing them that you get them, you get their situation. For top of funnel and middle of funnel content, reels tend to work really well, but sometimes carousels can also work as well. At the bottom of the funnel, we have acquisition. Now, this is hot traffic. They know the problem, they already know the solution exists, and now what's holding them back is doubt. And we need to bust any hesitations with this. So think price concerns, pain concerns, does it actually work concerns. Address them directly and openly rather than hoping they don't come up. And this can be your testimonial content, as you can see here. So before and afters, composite veneers. This is a great video on a similar journey to the middle of the funnel, which is a documentary style. But again, it's before and afters talking through different things. Bottom of the funnel typically works best for reels, carousels, but also pictures and stories. The mistake almost every clinic makes is they only ever produce bottom of the funnel content. So as we've just walked through, it's case studies, it's before and afters, it's offers, which means you're only ever really speaking to the people who are already hot. You're not doing anything to build the pipeline for the people that will be hot in about 3 months because you never earn their trust at the top. Think of it like letting people enter your room before pitching to them. You don't pitch them while they're waiting outside the room. So get more people coming into the room with top of funnel content. Map your content calendar across all 3 funnels every single week and not just the bottom one. And then your whole funnel starts acting like an ecosystem. Okay, so this is how content strategies need to work for clinics running advertising content. So let's go back to the messaging funnel. And now the mistake I see constantly is clinics only running one ad with one message to everyone, regardless of where they actually are in their decision. So top of funnel, think awareness ads. Again, this is cold audience targeting, broad awareness with no prior connection to the clinic. So for a dentist in a commoditized space, start with you, your background, your hobbies, which I know sounds counterintuitive, but it helps to distinguish you. Shout out Dr. Gage Litter here. He regularly has patients asking him about his hobbies. For aesthetics, it's often an education angle on what happens during the consultations. You can also demystify the process, given the industry is still maturing. This style of content works great because the hook is the actual celebrity themselves, and then the clinician gives their authority as to what's changed. For hair transplant, transplants, awareness content usually works best addressing the emotional side directly. So the anxiety around hair loss itself, how graft extraction works. So you have no shave fu, you have the shaved FUE style. So going back to the messaging funnel, we then have the middle of funnel, which is the consideration. This is where you retarget people who have engaged with that awareness content, or you're targeting an audience that's already shown intent. Here's the messaging shifts for this part. So for dentists, this is patient testimonial content, and you're using the specific words real patients use to describe why they finally committed to a treatment. You've got patient documentary examples here. For aesthetics, it's addressing the wants and needs directly with confidence, and you show how they'll feel and not just the clinical result. This is a great video. For hair transplant, this is where before and after content starts working, because they're actively comparing now and actively researching who to trust with their surgery. In general, before and afters are great for this section, but in all use cases, don't just post pictures like this. Give context to the individual's journey. So create a documentary style. Even better if you have the patient on camera. So let's go to the bottom of funnel, which is your acquisition stage. But here's the thing, only 3% of your audience is ever at this stage, and it's where you need to set your retargeting up. So people who have engaged with your messaging funnel coming down, and they've either watched a good part of a video or they've visited a landing page. It's super simple to set up, and I could do a whole video on that. But this is where you get them off the fence and ensure they submit as a lead. You bust any hesitations. And it's also where your offer comes into place. So for dentists, the offer can be wide, like free whitening after Invisalign, or pricing transparency, or even finance options laid out clearly. For aesthetics, it does depend on the machines. Emsculpt Neo typically works really well on a bulk deal. If you don't have machines, it's about overselling the consultation to get the patient in, and you need to be charging for these, and make sure you make them redeemable against future treatment plan, and you have them in the ad copy as well. For hair transplants, that's usually a direct call with the surgeon to talk through their case personally. We're finding a free PRP session after transplant is working well with our clients at the moment, but in this ad, it's gone for the pricing angle. So go and have a look at your ad strategy. Are you only running one type of funnel? Is it usually the bottom one? If so, you're only ever talking to the people who are close to booking, and you're burning through that small, typically expensive audience pretty fast. So build all 3 stages properly. So that's your full strategy. Now, one thing to note is that the algorithms are really sophisticated these days. And what they do is they scan that piece of content and put that piece of content in front of people who are considered top of funnel or bottom of funnel for you. It's never been easier to create content around an idea. But just take a moment to consider if that piece of content's job is to convert a paying patient or it's to educate. Then hit upload and the algorithm will do the rest. I hope this video gives you true value. And if you'd like to talk through your clinic's growth strategy with me personally, the top link in the bio takes you to my calendar.